The mind will never be able to comprehend sacred union, ever. Ever. So regardless of where we go with this exploration today, regardless of what words come out, know that it doesn't even come close to capturing it. That's just the truth of it. So here's something I was feeling into when I was feeling into sacred union. What if part of the reason, so these are the questions I'm going to throw at you, and that they're just to spark some thought-provoking conversation. What if part of the reason that you long for sex, and some of us don't have a longing for sex as a way of connecting. Some of us have more of a longing for relationship or for love, which is fine. What if part of the reason that you long for intimacy, you long for deep connection, you long to touch, you long to be touched, you long to be held, you long to be seen, you long to see another, you long to come into some kind of connection with another, some kind of a union of any sort of form, some sort of interaction with another? What if part of that longing is because we are moving beyond physiological need? So I'm not going to deny that there's not a physiological desire, right? That's like physical desire, physiological, like longing to reproduce, desire to reproduce, or physiologically just desire to be touched. What if you start to move up? What if you start to move up? What if somewhere in that longing for love, relationships, sex, intimacy, connection, whatever it is for you, find your word, find what it is that's most longing for you. Find what it is that's most longing. And let's not deny our longings. Remember, every time we go into these conversations, it's radically honest with self. Right? You don't have to be radically honest with me at all. And I might actually sometimes almost push you to like back up and like, I don't want to confess to you. It's about you just being honest with yourself. All of these things are just an offering. All of this is an offering to know thyself in a deeper way, an offering to uncover things about life, about love, about our truest self that we may have not uncovered before. That's what this is. This is an offering. It's just an offering. And so in that offering is this like permission to be radically honest with yourself, total permission to be radically honest with yourself. And let's just go into that longing piece for a moment. So let's not deny that we're longing. I can feel there's a denial of longing for connection. I can feel there's already, that's like surface level first thing. There's a denial of, I don't need anyone. I'm strong, I'm independent. I can do all of it on my own. What about wholeness, Sabrina? I'm working on becoming wholeness. I don't have a longing. Let's move past that. Let's move past fierce, independent. Sarah, thank you. I long for connection. Let's just move into that part of our heart, or that part of our being, or that part of our body that is longing for something, some kind of connection, some kind of intimacy. And it might not be with another human being. It doesn't have to be with another human being. And that's where maybe I was feeling some of the resistance, is it doesn't have to be with another human being. It could be, I am longing to feel so deeply connected to earth, to rhythm of natural cycles. I'm just longing to be connected to moon, to sun. I'm longing to be connected. I'm longing to have my bare feet on the ground. I'm longing to be able to connect into the wind, the water, the waves. I'm longing to connect into that. It could be, I'm longing to connect to my body. It could just be, I'm actually longing, like I love this, Sarah, Sasha, that was you who just inspired that. I long for connection with my womb. I'm longing to connect into my body. I'm longing to feel where it's maybe been numb. I'm longing to connect. I'm longing to have a more intimate relationship with my body. It's possibly I'm longing to connect with another human being. I'm longing for a deeper connection. I'm longing for depth, or I'm longing for truer connection. I'm longing for, it's oftentimes the word is deeper connection. I'm longing for more. I'm longing for more. I'm longing to feel more love. I'm longing to give more love. Sometimes it's I'm longing to physically connect. Sometimes it is through sexuality. I'm longing to sexually, and let's not judge any of this. Let's not make any of this taboo. The second we judge it, we're not able to be as honest with ourselves. We're not able to be as open. We're not able to see as much. It starts to go into the shadow, and that's what we're attempting to open the door to, is what's under there, oftentimes unconsciously moving us, unconsciously driving us. And so if there's sexual longing, let there be a sexual longing. I'm longing to connect with another in that way. I'm longing to connect sexually. It does something for me. It fills me in some way. It opens me in some way. It takes me somewhere. And so let's just move in from this place of longing for a connection or an intimacy of sorts, whatever that is, right? And so if we are feeling into that place of longing, let me feel into how to move into this space. What if through that longing was potentially a doorway that would open us up to the experience, the gnosis of sacred union? What if through that longing, whatever that exact expression is for you, what if through that longing, that was like a breadcrumb trail that leads you to what will give you the experience of sacred union? The experience of union with the divine, the experience of union with the all of everything, the experience of the union, like, of matter, which is us, body, mind, me, Sabrina, the union of matter and spirit. Spirit and matter converge. Now what if we all on some level long for that? What if on some level we like long to go home? You know, what if on some level sacred union, and we don't even know it, but on some level, somewhere in us, you know, the space within us that was us before we had a body, that was us before we came into this world, that was us before we had personalities and absorbed conditionings and all of that stuff, that was just us as this like raw little like spark of soul came in, and then we took on form, and we became a personality, and we became a body, and we became a thought, a way of thinking, and we became our thoughts, and we became our emotions, and we became our body. What if that space in you that is still that like spark of pre-body, right? Like pre-separate to, what if that space in you is always longing to find its way home? What if that space in you, that divine spark in you, is always longing for union? It's always longing. It's always longing to find itself. It's always longing to connect back into where it came from. Like the divine in you is always longing to connect into the divine in another, the divine out there, the divine down there, wherever our paradigm is at in the moment. And then what if part of what that longing that you have for the form of connection that you're longing for, what if that form is a breadcrumb trail that will help you to find union, that will help you to move back home, that will help to take you back home? So I can share for me, I want to give a tangible example, and I don't want to make it about me, but I want to give a tangible example. So for me, I long to go home through sexuality. I long to experience the divine in another body. I long to experience the divine in another body through energetic expressions. I long for that. I that is part of my way home. I experience sacred union. I experience the divine in me uniting with the divine, the fullness of the divine. I experience that through many forms. One happens to be sacred sexuality. Now another, I experience union deeply, deeply when I'm like stripped bare. Right now I'm in the desert, so it's very stripping. When I'm stripped bare on the land, and I don't have to be physically stripped bare, I'm stripped bare and I am so intimately connected. I am so intimately connected with Mother Nature. I am so intimately connected with Mother Nature that I know the sacred in myself because of my connection to the sacred that I am seeing and feeling and finding in the land, in nature outside of myself. It's like the mirror, like, you know, the divine in me sees, witnesses, honors, and loves the divine in you. And so there are so many forms, there are so many physical forms that sacred union can take on. So if we go to the heights of the heights of the heights, for me, it doesn't matter what the physical expression of it is. It doesn't matter how it's playing out in my physical world. That union for me at this point in my life, that union for me, like the expression of it, doesn't matter. Whether that's sexually being expressed, that union with God. Doesn't matter if it's sexually being expressed, if it's being expressed via a heart-to-heart connection with a dear friend, right? A soul-to-soul connection with a dear friend through like sacred conversation, sacred witnessing. Could be that. Could be with my dog, right? With an animal. I find union, I find sacred union with an animal, soul to soul. The divine spark in my dog meets, honors, touches the divine spark in me. Could be with this desert land. The divine spark in the desert land meets, touches, honors, makes love to the divine spark in me. And in that like dance and in that love making, like the more that I, as a conscious being, can be conscious and present to the divine dance, the divine spark in the land, the more that I am choosing that radio dial, right? I just turn my consciousness, my awareness into the divine spark of the land, the divine spark of the land, the divine spark of the land. What starts to happen is that divine spark of the land becomes the thing that I am tuned into. It is the thing that I am tuned into. And what happens is that divine spark becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in my atmosphere or in another person who I'm talking to or making love to or whatever it is. And then my divine spark becomes louder and louder and louder and bigger and bigger and bigger in me as an embodiment of my divine spark, right? And so that divine spark outside of me and whatever it is that I'm uniting with or I'm dancing with or I'm present to, that divine spark in me and that divine spark in that and the divine spark in me starts to come into this dance, this harmony, this making love, right? Like starts to make love. It starts to make love. And then there becomes this union. It becomes this union, right? And so the making love starts to happen. This union starts to happen. The ego starts to dissolve. The Sabrina-ness starts to dissolve. My separateness to the divine spark starts to dissolve. I become not even separate too. I become not separate too. There is no separateness. I really, not only do I know this from reading it in a book, or I've heard this all as one, I am living it, I'm breathing it, I'm experiencing it. I have the gnosis of it. I have the gnosis of it. I am it. I'm now not reading about it or thinking about it. I am it. I become it. I become it. So that's sacred union. Now, of course, there are many things that determine our capacity to tap into the divine spark, our capacity to hold that, like our stamina to hold, our consciousness, even our ability to keep our focus on something for more than a minute is tough in the world that we live in, right? Our how our bodies are wired, how much divine spark my body is capable of allowing to move through it, capable of, we all have divine spark in us or we wouldn't be here, but how is my body wired to emanate it, to receive it, to open to it, to emanate it, to allow it to fill me? You know, where's my nervous system at with that? Where are my chakras at with that? Where are my bones at with that? Where's my blood at with that? Where's my mind at, right? So we think about the embodiment, but then where is the mind at? And we just talked about that focus piece of how long can I even stay focused on something, right? Before I dart off into the next thing. Well, you know, without the mind being wired. So it's like the mind becoming wired to, one, turn to that radio dial, to that radio station, turn, you know, our just awareness, like what are you tuned into? What station are you tuned into? And one is, you know, sometimes we have to be shown, like, hey, this is like AM 1160. And you're like, oh, AM 1160. I didn't even know there was an AM 11. I didn't even know there was an AM. I've been on an FM the whole time, right? So sometimes it's just, you know, having someone show us AM. What did I say? AM 1160, I think. AM 11, apparently that's the divine spark is AM 1160. AM 1160, right? And so sometimes it's just that. And then, you know, how long can we stay on AM 1160? And so what is the wiring in our mind? What is the wiring in our brain to be able to hold that radio station amidst the world we live in? You know, cell phones ringing and, you know, pattern conditioning of like everything changes every 2 seconds and instant gratification, right? Like instant gratification. Well, I'm not going to hang out here for 5 minutes because I want it in 5 seconds. And if I don't get, you know, divine spark making love to my partner in 5 seconds from sacred sexuality and sacred union, if you don't look like Jesus in 5 seconds, I'm out. I'm game over. Like, let's just end this thing. Really exaggerating. I'll share an experience, an experience around sacred sexuality, to kind of weave that thread in. This is a wild one. This is a story that I had forgotten about until I was reminded of this story. And this happened to me years and years and years and years ago. And it was one of my earlier experiences of sacred union amidst intimacy with another. my partner and I were in a workshop for the weekend, working very much with Shakti, very much with divine feminine, divine masculine energies, very much archetypal work. And so we were in this workshop, and so just a real expanded state, just from practices, just from doing practices together, and doing archetypal embodiment together over the weekend. And I think it's like Saturday night. It was in a very long workshop, like maybe 2 days. And it's, Saturday night or whatever night it is. And we're starting to get closer and closer, and just energetics are starting to move. And we're making love. And this experience is one of the greatest experiences of my life. Okay, I shouldn't say that. I have a lot of really great experiences, but it's definitely top 20. And so I remember sitting on him, and I remember looking into his eyes and saying these words to him. Oh my God, I remember. Oh my God, it's you. It's you. This is what I'm saying to him. Oh my God, it's you. I know you. Oh my God, I forgot. I remember. Oh, it's you. It's you. It's you. And to me, it was God. It was the divine. It was in the form of Jesus. I was very much working in that energy at the time. Christ light, if Jesus is a triggery word for you, Christ light. And it was, he became that. And there was no longer a man there. There was no longer a personality there. There was just God. Just God. And I'm weeping, and I'm fully uniting, like fully taking all of that essence in, fully allowing that essence to just almost like explode me into just pure love, right? Just exploding that back out into the world, back to this energy. I can't even say it was a man. Just exploding just into love, into nothing, into just love and light. So at the end, we're sharing our experience when we kind of have somewhat of our wits about us, sort of. And he says to me, "You became Jesus." He says, "In that you became Jesus." I said, "You became Jesus." Like, that's who you were for me. And that was just us putting words to, you became the divine. You became the divine in that moment. And so I know that some of us are very, very sensitive around different archetypal energies or different religious traditions. We have lots of stuff and lots of things around them, so you can just insert something else in there. But it was really, you became the divine. We became the divine for each other. And to be one of, and I've had many of those experiences with a tree, with the earth, with a moment of nothingness, with, like I was sharing my dog, with another being not in a sexual expression kind of a format. So to me, that is sacred union. And to me, you know, kind of what we started our exploration today on is the breadcrumb trail. And for me, sexuality has always been something that I have been called to explore, the higher realms of the deeper realms, the more. There's more. Not all of us are called to that particular thread of sacred union. Some of us are called to sacred union through a different thread, through a different doorway, through a different path. And so in this moment, like those of us who are here live in this space, in the Facebook group right now, like if you can feel into, and I think it would be beautiful for us to share, if you feel to share, right now, and we can have many, many different doorways that we're called into sacred union through, but right now, like what is yours? Just in this moment, and tomorrow it could be different, in 5 minutes it could be different. It could have been different an hour ago, but just in this moment, like if you were going to move into sacred union where whatever it is or the experience is just becomes the divine. It just, it brings you to you being the sacred. It brings that object, that person, that moment in time to be the divine. If there is a path, a doorway, like what is the, Sarah, I love it, divine sex, suit of my body, my womb. I love that. Just feeling into for you in this moment. If you're listening on the podcast later, just really feeling in to your own doorway. And then Ebony, myself, or nature, yes. I went through very long periods of my life where I did not long to experience and be in sacred union with another, not with a dog, not with a human, not with a tree, it was with like the absolute all of nothingness and everything itself. It was to come into union through that. That was a very significant period of my life. So totally honoring that and loving that you wove that in. Ebony, thank you. The ocean, wide open views, the Milky Way. I love that. Nature, sunlight, moonlight, heart, divine connection, my heart, woodland, forest, consciousness, nature, music, and color. I love those, Sabrina. Mother Nature, breath. Just in being able to be alone and feel complete. Merge with silence. Oh, these are so beautiful and so glorious. So now my next question of, kind of opening up the space for us to just explore self and to explore what's true and to be radically honest with self, because it's all just a journey of know thyself. And so in this moment, feeling into what capacities am I called to develop or to practice or to explore a bit further? What capacities am I called to develop that will allow me to experience sacred union to a different degree? What capacities? Is it mind focus capacity? Is it, I actually just need a transmission of like AM 1120 so I know where I'm looking? Is it, okay, if I could develop capacities in my body, I'm really called to embodiment work. I'm really called to stillness. I'm really called to silence. I'm really called trust, Felicity. I love that. That's beautiful. Rita, another trust. Oh, you women are magic and wise and just sharing absolute gold in our space. Heartfelt giving. I love that. So just feeling into, your own unique capacity that could be taken to the next level, or that you're called to take to the next level in this moment. And again, it can change in 5 minutes. It could have been different an hour ago, but just in this moment, what is that capacity? The one that's coming to me in this moment is deep listening, is deep listening, like deep listening to the still small voice within. More space for that, more creating more space, like deep listening for the still small voice within, deep listening for the still small voice within, you know, and letting myself be led from there, to be spoken to hear from the still small voice within, and to move. You know, am I called to move toward sacred union through the creation of something? I often feel it through the creation of something, like creating reunion. Right now, this is a very, very deep dance for me. That is very much of an experience of sacred union, is in creation, is in artistry. That's me doing my art. And when I'm allowing creation to come through, I'm allowing the space to start to make love to an I don't want to say an idea, because it's not an idea, a spark of inspiration that comes from the same place I did, you know, a spark of inspiration, and then to start to make love to that, and to start to come into a dance and a union with that, and to let its divine spark. And that's really what I'm doing with Reunion. And those of you who've been hanging out will know the journey with Reunion has been wild. We've changed the name, we've pushed it back by 2 months. We've done all kinds of and it's been because of this creative dance with it, this sacred union with it, and the letting it let me feel for the right words. It's so hard to find words for this. I've never described this process, the creative process, ever in my life in this way. Definitely not publicly. But it's like you become mother to it. But in becoming mother to it, in becoming pregnant to it, there is a making love with the divine spark, the inspiration. There's a making love to that form of the divine, whatever that form of the divine is, to then become pregnant with what it is we're creating or birthing. Does that make any sense? I know there's a little bit out there. And so it's and then when you're pregnant with it, so this is how I feel about Reunion right now, is to be pregnant with it. So this is like the next step of divine union, right? Like this is the actual becoming impregnated in a way, and then giving birth to something that comes from that creative spark, or that making love. And now it's the slowly starting to give birth to it, but it is its own soul. It is its own, it is, and to do it with a, you know, a program of an experiential retreat, which is what Reunion is. Yeah, it's a wild dance, one that I obviously find very challenging to bring words to, especially when I'm in the midst of it, especially when I'm in the midst of honoring the very thing that I'm kind of pregnant with. Wow, that was really a gift to be able to go there, really a gift to be able to talk about sacred union from this place, and to explore it with you all, and everything that you all wove into the conversation around sacred union. And I'm really grateful that we could go to those heights, to that level, to that space. Love what we do. Love what we do. Huge love for our community, huge love for our Facebook group, huge love for the ReWilding team. and all that everyone's putting in to bring the reunion experience out into the world. So if you have not signed up for the reunion experience, you are so very welcome to. It's totally free. We kind of hold a space like this once a year. Last year it was 12 days of circle. This year it's 7 days of reunion. And we'd love to be there with you. So you'll find links in the bottom of descriptions. You'll find links in, kind of wherever you're hanging out. Marty just signed up. Awesome. It'd be great to be there with you.